你们好。
Hello, everybody.
How? 我是 Ingy.net.
I am Ingy.net.
Ingy 2.0. Yet another 2.0. Haiku 2.0.
Ingy 2.0，又是一个2.0，海剧的2.0。
No, the translation is over there.
Okay.
Ha 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 ha.
哇哈哈，哇哈哈哇，哇哇哇哇哇。
Quickie to Taipei. Ingy shows 2.0 stuff. A topic for spring.
Quickie 来到台北 ，Ingy 带来了2.0的东西，这是一个春天的主题。
Haiku is okay, but Ingy likes limericks. Please let me explain.
海剧很 OK， 但 Ingy 比较喜欢诗，请让他解释。
The poetry known as haiku leaves a hacker with too much to do. The minding of syllables, I'd rather watch killables. Kill Bill has far better kung fu.
有种诗句叫海剧，它让黑客们要做太多的事情。老师要注意押韵，倒不如去看电影，起码追杀敌人的功夫还比较好。
Ingy.net was a man who hacked on weird plan after plan. As hard as he tried, his ideas always died, but at least he is big in Japan.
Ingy.net 是个人，是个男人。最后一句是起码他在日本很大只。
There once was a hacker named Ingy. 2.0 was his thingy. He went to Taipei, but to his dismay, they sent him back home in a dinghy. A dinghy is a little boat. Anyway. Okay. This Ingy, it often was said, would hack all day in his bed. But the harder he hacked, the weirder and whacked were his hacks. Oh my God, ORZ.
Ingy 通常老师在说，他只会躺在床上不停的 hack， 但是不管他怎么 hack， 事情总是变得非常复杂又非常讨厌。因为这样，所以他就演得很大影响。第一，我就是例外。
Okay, so sometimes the old stuff is the best stuff.
有时候旧的东西反而是最好的东西。
Bless you. Maybe it's not shiny anymore,
虽然已经可能不闪亮，
but a little polishing can go a long way.
但是打蜡的时候可能就变很好了。
And then you just take the new thing and call it 2.0.
那就把上过蜡的东西拿过来，叫做2.0版。
So last year I made 2 big 2.0 upgrades.
去年他做了2件2.0的升级。
Ingy 2.0.
Ingy 2.0。
Brian Ingerson, legally Ingy.net. Old is new again.
以前叫做 Brian Ingerson， 现在在法律上它叫做 Ingy.net， 所以旧的东西换新了。
So in September, I legally changed my name to Ingy.net.
在去9月的时候，他把他的名字在法律上登记为 Ingy.net。
So Ingy is my first name,
Ingy 是他的名字，
and .net is my last
那
name.
变成他的姓氏。
And dot is not my middle name.
那变成他的中间姓。
Okay, here's the legal form.
这个是法律上的。
But Ingy.net is not my real name.
这并不是他的真名，
It's only my legal name.
但是他在法律上。
My real name is Ingy.net. But the U.S. government only knows or actually EBCDIC. So I can prove this. You can pass this around. Ingy 2.0. Okay, so this name, Ingy 2.0, it causes a lot of problems, but it degrades gracefully. So if everything goes well, I can be Ingy.net. But in reality, it takes many forms. So many times I have to be Ingy.net. So that's the way it is on my passport. And according to the airlines, which you can see on the back, I'm .net. In the Wiki world, which I spend most of my time, I'm camel case Ingy.net. And those are the good cases, but sometimes things go very badly. Okay, so I ordered a package from Amazon.com. And I guess they can only do ASCII too, so this is how it was spelled when my package arrived. And then on the UPS shipping form, UPS, they just got rid of the altogether. And then, so I have a bank account, and they know my new name, but they send me a lot of junk mail. So when I get something from my bank with that logo on it, this is my spam filter. And my mother, she actually thinks my name is Ingy.net. So when she sends me a birthday card or something, that's how it shows up on the envelope. And sometimes there's just no dot at all. So when I go to the grocery store, they look at my receipt and it prints my name, and usually they say, "Thank you, Mr. Net." Or sometimes they just look at it and go, "Thank you." Okay, Quickie 2.0. There once was a project called Quickie, whose maintenance proved to be tricky. To make the thing go, they tacked on 2.0, and now it's one heck of a wiki. Okay, so Quickie is a wiki, but it's I like to compare Quickie to Wiki as Perl is to programming.
Quickie 虽然本身是一个 wiki， 但是大家比较喜欢用类比，就是说 Quickie 之于 wiki， 就像是 Perl 之于写程式一样。
So Quickie, the whole project does not care so much about being the best wiki in the world.
Quickie 这个计划本身的目的并不在于创建出一个在维基世界里面最好的机器。
It's more about just being a bunch of fun little pieces that people can create and put together like Lego set.
它的目的是在于说，它要建立许许多多很好玩的元件，可以让大家全部摆在一起，就像玩乐高积木。
And so if you have fun with it, then that's good.
如果你觉得很有趣的话，那不错。
Okay, so this is Quickie 1.0. Now the project Quickie, it was pretty successful. There's over 150 different contributions from different authors on CPAN. So people can make plugins and upload them to CPAN, and it did really well.
Quickie 是一个非常成功的芯片计划。那它曾经一度有150几个从来自很多不同作者的Quickie 的模组。那它实际上是运作的非常不错的状态。
Okay, but the last time I released Quickie was 2 years ago.
可是上一次 Quickie 有释出已经是2年前的事情。
So that means that the code was very stable. Well, of course, we know stable in software means it's dead. But being dead isn't all that bad. Because once you die, then you can be reborn. Enter Quickie 2.0. So this is Quickie 2.0. K2. Last December, I decided to make Quickie come back to life. So it was there were still some people who were interested in it, and I said, you know, with a little work, we can make this thing really nice again.
那其实还是有蛮多人表示有兴趣，所以他就跟我说，那我们就来做点事情，让这种Quickie这个东西更有趣吧。
So I made a new website for Quickie. I set up a track, actually. Well, go ahead.
那他就先替Quickie给了一个新的首页，并且设了一个 track。
So I actually set up track, which is a wiki. So
track 本身其实也是个 wiki。
But that's okay because when there are bugs in track, I don't have to fix them.
那不过这也没什么关系，因为track 有 bug， 不算它找不到它没有错。
So, but yeah, the project is now planned with track, and then we started a new subversion repo.
那不过基本上这个计划就是用 track 来做管理，然后同时 SVN 的档案库也更新了，是一个新的。
And I learned a lesson from Audrey some time ago that for any project, you just have to hand out commit bits to everybody who comes by. So,
那基本他在Audrey身上学到一件很重要的事情，就是有些计划你跟别人来，你就给他卡面笔，这样可以。
Dr. Bean, do you have your commit bit yet?
Dr. Bean, you commit bit?
No, I had a commit bit. I don't know, yeah.
You're always on the channel, but you never sing.
On the workout, yeah.
Okay. So one thing I decided to do for Quickie 2.0 was to get away from CPAN.
那其中一件决定在 Quickie 2.0决定的事情就是说，暂时要离开 CPAN。
Now that's kind of weird because CPAN is what makes Perl things famous.
这好像也奇怪，因为毕竟 CPAN 是让整个 Perl 的事情变得很发展的一个地方。
Who here loves Perl?
谁很爱 Perl？
All right. I think I have a present for Dr. Bean. He's the lover of Perl.
What does it say?
You have to hold it up to your chest. It's orange though, the color of Perl. So, yeah, so just stand next to HLB. You'll love it.
I don't know where I go through.
Oh, okay. You don't think you'll wear it?
Well,
Well, this guy loves Perl.
actually, I'm a preserver.
Okay, you're gonna frame it? Yes. Okay, great.
How about yours?
Can I fix it?
Yes. Okay. I always love to give away a T-shirt. Oh yeah. For you, the lover of Perl. Hey. Show everybody your T-shirt. Okay. Well, he's showing the T-shirt. So, but the one good thing about leaving Quickie the way it was on CPAN is whatever state it was in, it was stable. So we could make sweeping changes on the new Quickie and leave the old stuff alone for a while until the new stuff got stable.
那其中一个原因是因为现在市面上 Quickie 大致上都还算蛮稳定的，所以既然这样的话，那就把我们的留给他听，让我们先来看一新的。
So show everybody your shirt.
让大家可以看这 T 恤。
Yeah. It's excellent. This is from Miyagawa's YAPC Asia last week in Tokyo.
上个礼拜的 YAPC Asia 在东京。
Okay, and hacking everything out of Subversion instead of CPAN is it makes things just so much easier.
那直接对一个 SPN 档案库做修改、做 hacking， 其实是非常非常敏捷的事情。
Okay, so these were the three major problems with Quickie.
那 Quickie 有这3个主要的问题。
There are way too many modules to install. So if you want to install this wiki software, it could take days.
那第一个问题是说，它实在有太多的模组要装了。如果说你想要安装 Quickie 测软体的话，那你可能要一整天来装。
And the software itself was quite slow. It was a CGI application, and depending on your environment, you know, Quickie is supposed to mean fast, and even wiki means fast in Hawaiian. Yeah.
基本上 Quickie 软体实在是太慢了，因为它设计的时候觉得自己应该是个 CGI 就好了，那看你环境怎么部署在什么环境下再去。但是很讽刺的是 ，Quickie 这个字的意思其实 quick 应该很快，而且 wiki 这个字在夏威夷的意思本身就是快的意思，跟是什么？
So Audrey always called Quickie slowy.
那Audrey 就说 Quickie 是个 slow 慢吞吞的。
And also the other problem was there was very little documentation.
另外一个问题就是文件非常少。
So all we had to do is make it easy to install, make it fast, and document it.
所以我们要解决的问题就是我们要让它很容易装，然后让它变得很快，而且让它有很多文件。
So Quickie actually comes with 500 Perl modules.
Quickie 2.0基本上送给你500个 Perl modules。
And it takes less than 1 minute to install now.
1分钟之内就可以装。
So I'll show you how to do that. Here's how you do it. You check out the whole Subversion repository.
以下是安装方法。第一步是先用 SDF 把整个档案库拿出来。
So that will probably take more than 1 minute.
那虽然这个指令本身很有可能超过1分钟。
But the second part is you just add this to your environment. You put the bin in the Quickie into your path.
其实第二步非常简单，只要把 Quickie 的 bin 这个目录放到你的 path 这个 environment 里面就可以了。
And then the software is completely installed. So if you want,
整个软件就全部装好了。
that's everything. And you get support for free. Okay. So to create a new wiki, actually, since Quickie is in your path now, you can just say Quickie new my wiki.
那因为刚才先把 Quickie 的执行档录音加入，所以你要建立一个新的 wiki 的交写。
Where my wiki is just a directory.
My wiki 其实是一个路径的名称而已。
Yeah, he's say Quickie is so fast. So, and then to configure it, you just edit a plugins file and run Quickie update.
那要修改设定的话，就去修改拉并学档案，然后选 Quickie update。
And it actually comes with its own built-in web server, so you can just say Quickie start.
那事实上还附送一个内建的 HTTP server，说 Quickie start 开起来。
But this is the best part.
是最棒的地方。
To update Quickie, you just do this.
升级 Quickie 只要这样做就好了。
Or SVK.
不用 SDK 也可以。
Okay, so to do this, here's how I accomplished it. I reorganized all the source code.
它以下是它如何办到这些事情的方法。首先，它重新整理一下所有的原始。
So I went to, we already had a Subversion repository. I took everything from that, and then everything that wasn't on that was on CPAN. I grabbed CPAN stuff.
所以基本上的方法就是因为我们已经有一些既有的 SPN 档案库，所以他就先把那些从旧档案库搬过来。那如果有一些在 CPAN 上没有在自己的 CPAN 上的话，就直接从 CPAN 上搬过来，有一份。
And then I had like 4 years worth of wikis on different hard drives. So I found different hacks that I had written, and I got all of those.
那因为这个人的电脑上有这4年来他建了无数个 wiki 的各种奇怪怪的特殊的修改，那他就把它全部一起统合一下放进来。
And then I got on IRC and asked everybody that had their own personal hacks on their own personal hard drives to send those in.
那他同时也上 IRC 去跟大家讲说，如果你们有一些你们自己个人的修改、个人的配的话，请全部送给我。
So now hopefully anything that ever had anything to do with Quickie is in one Subversion repository.
所以现在基本上整个 Quickie 全部都在 所需要的东西全部都在一个 SB 的方式。
And then I work for a company called Social Text that makes wikis.
那我替一家叫 Social Text 的公司，这家公司本身也是做 wiki 的。
And so I stole some of modules from them.
所以他也替他们装了一些模组。
Because everything Social Text does is open source, so I can freely take from
因为
them.
基本上 Social Text 的里面所做的事情，基本上都是开放原始码，所以可以自由取码。
Okay, now all of these modules, if you install a Perl module, it usually takes maybe a minute if everything goes right.
那基本上要安装 Perl 模组的时候，差不多每个模组要花上1分钟，而且是在不出错的情况下。
But usually things go wrong.
可是基本上事情都会出错。
But with this, everything is pre-installed.
可是用这种方法的话，基本上所有东西都是事先装好。
So within the Subversion repo, what I did was I located all of the Perl modules, and I left. I should show you this. I left all the Perl modules intact. So let me actually show this.
就是它基本上是先把模组全部拆开一份，但是本来那一份都还全部留着。
I'll give live demo. So so here's the trunk, and here's so all of the source is under SRC.
所有的其他来的原始码都在 SRC。
Okay, so source is core modules, cpan modules, Ingy modules, the plugins modules, and social text modules so far.
基本上整个 SRC 目前的区分大概就是 cpan 来的、Ingy 自己来的，然后其他的 plugin 或者 social text 那方面原始码。
Now this was really important. Under plugins, these are all of the people that I could find that contributed. So there's Audrey and Gugad and Miyagawa.
那所以在 plugin 底下，基本上它就是根据每个作者的名字来分。那你可以看到有
Quickie. So I left everybody's source code under their own directory because I didn't just want to take everything that everybody had written and just say it's all mine now.
那他基本上把每个人的著作都放在不同地方，但是他基本上不是说要把大家东西全部抢过来，所以这些都全部是我。
And so, and I gave everybody has a commit bit, and only they can change their part of the tree.
那其实基本上每个人都自己有自己 commit 的权限，那但是他们只能改自己东西。
And of course, everybody that is here actually agreed that this was a good idea.
那同时这些上面的人全部也同意说这是不错的。
And then for the cpan stuff, there's some people that I just have not got a hold of yet. So I just pulled in their cpan stuff. I actually pulled in the actual physical tarball, and oh, that's yeah. So sorry, these are the dependency modules from cpan. What I meant to do was source plugins cpan.
对，就 cpan 这一部分的话，它其实因为它有可能不一定联络到所有 cpan 作者，那基本上的做法就是直接把它放进来。
But it's the same idea. I just pulled in the tarballs and blew them up because then I know that I haven't really, even though I've, all of these things are freely available, and even though I'm redistributing them, everything is intact the way the author made it.
就基本上点子跟刚刚的情况差不多，就是基本上你就这样放了一份解开，那他们原先作者写的原先的东西就基本上留着不动。虽然说是可以重新包装、重新散布，但是这样的话，你就可以确保说原先的他们的原始码是在他们履历时那时候的状态。
So if we pick like a random module, so we'll take one of Miyagawa's modules here.
随便来找个，比如说Miyagawa来某什么翻译，作为翻译。
So if we look, there's all this crap in there that cpan needs, right? So all changes, file, manifest, tests.
所以这个你可以看到这个目底下它的结构大概就是你要释出到 cpan 上的档案所需要的东西。
But all I really care about is what's in the lib tree.
但是其实我们关键只是在 lib 底下的东西。
So there's type key, there's There's edit type key required, and all of these PMs. So I just wanted to get at all of these PMs. Yeah? And I made this all into one lib tree. So so if you see, under the lib tree, these are all the top-level namespaces that are included of modules within Quickie. And actually, if we do this one. So 520 modules. But if we look in here at lib Quickie type key, we'll see that this is just a symlink right back into Miyagawa's source directory. So when Quickie runs, all it has to know is where this lib directory is, and then it has access to all these modules, and they're all pre-installed. And, well,
所以当 Quickie 正在执行的时候，它其实只要知道最上层的 lib 是在作业系统上哪里就好，因为所有的源码基本上都是事先安装在那里。
And that's pretty cool because if you were to just want to try Quickie for 5 minutes, you wouldn't want to have to possibly upgrade all kinds of modules on your local machine because it might mess up other things.
那基本上这样子做法相当不错，因为如果你只是要把 Quickie 装来玩一玩、玩一下看看的话，你并不需要去做任何 C-pen 的升级，因为可能会影响到你其他的工作。
So this, you can just download everything, and then if you don't like it, you delete it, and nothing has changed on your machine at all.
那这种方法就是说，你可以就全部抓下来，可以真的试试看。但是如果你真不喜欢的话，把目录全部开掉就好，机器上其他东西都不变。
This also allows me to take all of trunk and just tarball it up, and for people who don't want to use Subversion, just give them a tarball.
那同样的，这也有另外一个可能，就是说，如果有人不太喜欢用 FBN， 这种做法也可以让他直接把 trunk 目录全部包成一个压缩档，直接把它压缩全部给别人就好。
So when I make a release tarball, I just use tar.
所以他要做 release 的时候，他就只要用 tar， 就可以把东西全部包起来。
Okay, so when you install Quickie, it has 0 dependencies for Perl at least.
所以说，这现在当你装 Quickie 的时候，在 Perl 这方面不会有任何相关性、模组相应的问题。
And pretty much it will work. Now, sometimes that's for a simple wiki. Some of the plugins actually require Perl modules that I can't pre-build or release because they're written in C.
那这是有一些，就是基本上这是简单的情况，但是有一些情况它没有办法，有些 plugin 用到一些用 C 写的模组，所以它没有办法事先建好，然后事先一起安装好再上进去。
But that's okay.
都写 Perl， 然后他们同时自1993年起就在不断的提供 Perl 相当一程度的协助。
But 5.8.3 is actually 2 or 3 years old now, so I just think that's crazy.
那可是5.8.3其实已经少说了2、3岁以上，所以这么早的东西还要它其实有点。
No other language like Ruby or Python, they would just say, just use the newest one, get with it.
其他的语言像 Ruby 或 Python 的话，他们就说只要装最新版就好，只要装最新版。
So I don't know why Perl tries to protect this old 15-year-old code.
那基本上他不太了解 Perl 事情为什么要致力于保护既有很久的那种原始码。
But mostly, like I said before, Quickie is about fun. So why would I want to use old Perl and Windows, which is no fun.
那基本上整个 Quickie 计划就是要有趣嘛。那他为什么要去管老的 Perl 或者是 Windows 的问题呢？一点都不有趣。
Okay, so this is really cool. Quickie is now fast.
这也非常现在是也非常非常具有震撼性，就是 Quickie 现在很快了。
Well, I found two parts where Quickie was slow. One was its formatter.
他找到 Quickie 让 Quickie 很慢的原因是有两点。
So I wrote, a formatter is actually a two-part phase. It's a parse, and then it's a render.
那基本上第一点就是一个叫做 formatter， 就是格式系的东西。那这个其实是两段式的元件。它先把文字解析好，然后再把它化成 HTML。
And the parsing of wiki text is actually purely functional in that it doesn't have any side effects.
那以前 Quickie 的解析的方法基本上是一个纯粹函式化的方法，它不会有任何其他的副作用，就是 side effect。
Whereas when you render the parse tree to HTML, it could depend on time of day, it could depend on the user that's viewing stuff, it could depend on all sorts of external things.
那也就是说，当你在把 Wiki 的文字转换成 HTML 的时候，它可以去跟现在是谁在看有关，也可以跟现在几点几分有关，或者跟现在天气怎样有关，都有可能。
But this was something that was very lucky because the first part, which is purely functional, was the slow part, and the second part, which changed every time, was actually quite fast already.
那其实有点非常幸运的是，就是前端这种解析的部分是比较慢的。前端解析，而且是完全是还是很 functional programming 的地方是比较慢的。后面把所有东西转成 HTML， 是常常做的事情反而是比较快。
So the obvious win there would be to cache the parse tree.
那也就是说，很显然的，只要我们把 parse 解析出来的树状结构事先 cache 好一份的话，那就已经不错了。
But then I didn't need all this anyway because I rewrote the parser.
那现在其实这也不需要，因为它已经把这个 parser 重新写。
And it's faster anyway. So, but this was the really big win. Miyagawa-san, in 1 hour, sitting by my side, he wrote Quickie fast CGI.
但是现在接下来这件事情更兴奋，就是说Miyagawa在旁边做了1个小时的CGI线。
At a hackathon a couple months ago in Palo Alto at Social Test.
在 Social Test 这个公司在Palo Alto办公室里面，Miyagawa会找他，然后1个小时。
And fast CGI it rocks. So this is what the index CGI program looks like in Quickie.
那这是 Quickie 里面的 index.cgi 的档案的内容。
It's really just 2 lines. It uses Quickie Bootstrap.
那基本上只有2行而已。第一个部分是叫 boot， 然后 bootstrap。
And then you call the boot module to give you back a Quickie object, and then on the Quickie object you just call process. Very simple, but also very slow.
那一开始的 boot 的程序会给你一个 Quickie 物件，然后你再叫 Quickie 的 process 就可以把所有事情处理好，非常简单，但是也非常的慢。
Because that bootstrap part actually has to load all of these modules.
因为在 boot 就在一开始启动的程序里面，需要把所有的模组全部载入。
And in a CGI environment, that can be very, very slow.
那如果在 CGI 环境下，这不是非常的慢。
So here was Miyagawa's hack, and it was so simple.
那Miyagawa的解决法是这样，而且非常简单。
Thanks to the CGI fast module,
有一个 CGI fast 模组，要感谢它。
you can just take that line and put it in a loop, and every request hits a new CGI object.
那基本上只要把上面那行 copy 下来，放在一个回圈中间，那所有的新进来的 HTTP 的 request 都会有一个新的 CGI 文件。
Now, I don't really know how fast CGI works internally,
那基本上虽然他不知道 Fast CGI 内部要怎么做，
but I don't really care because
所以不用
it's fast now.
因为非常快。
Okay, and then lastly was the documentation.
最后就是关于写文件的部分。
I hate to write doc. It's really stupid.
那他非常讨厌写文件，就觉得这是一件很愚蠢的事情。
So I came up with this idea called Doolittle.
所以他就想了一个点叫做杜立的。
Now, I don't know if anybody knows. Who knows who Dr. Doolittle is?
谁知道谁是关于杜立的？
Dr. Bean, you're a doctor. You've heard of Dr. Doolittle.
famous musical. I think it's My Fair Lady. No, that's a different one.
Now, Dr. Dolittle was this guy. He could talk to animals. Yeah. So anyway, but my project has nothing to do with that. It's more that I just want to do little work. So the idea is to let the community write the docs. So I started doolittle.quickie.org. Now the same way that I created this big symlink tree of the Perl modules, I also took all the docs from every Perl module and built a separate symlink tree for them.
那他也用这种方法把现在既有在 Perl 模组里面的文件全部抽取出来，放在另外一套符号连接的目录数底下。
And then I used that symlink tree as a Quickie database.
然后他就直接使用这个目录数，这个全部都是文件的目录数，当做 Quickie 一个 Wiki 站台的资料库。
And I changed the formatter, so instead of Quickie format, it works with pod.
那他再把这个站的格式性，就是 format 改了一下，所以他用的不是本来 Quickie 的 format， 而是 POD 的 format。
Hold on, I see a typo.
然后不好意思，发现错字。
Okay. So, yeah, so actually I just turned all of Quickie into a wiki itself.
所以也就是说，他就是把所有的模组变成一个 wiki。
And when people edit the docs, when they write the docs, they're writing them right into a subversion repository. They're writing them right into Quickie.
那当别人修改这个 wiki 站台文件的时候，当他们存档的时候，他们直接把这个存档的动作做到 subversion 仓库。
And then I can just commit those back.
所以他可以过一阵去看你的翻译本，就把它给过去掉。
So it's very cool when you can use your own tool to fix its own problems.
所以是很不错，因为你可以用自己建构的工具去解决自己的问题。
So I think that this idea could work for even Perl itself. What if all of the Perl documentation, which is already written in Pod, was just one big wiki?
那基本上他觉得这样的方法也可以在用在 Perl 里面嘛。所以想象看看，如果所有现在既有的 Perl 模组文件其实是一个 wiki 站台的话，那多好。
That could be pretty cool. Or Miyagawa was talking about his Flagger project earlier, has no documentation.
同样的，这也非常不错。那米亚高瓦早上的 Flagger 演讲也说过，他的 Flagger 也是另外一个没有这个文件的情况。
So maybe tonight we'll hack on that.
所以也许今晚上就可以把它。
If you buy me a beer.
如果米亚高瓦其他都不行。
Okay. So some of the future things I want to do, I want to actually write plugins that when you put them together create a media wiki with using
Quickie. 接
Quickie.
下来是一些他想做的事，他想要写一套plugin，一套外挂，然后只要把这摆在一起，就有一样 wiki。
I've written a new formatter and I want to make it customizable so that it would be really easy for any wiki installer to just choose their own wiki markup. So you can say, I like this for bold, I like this for bullets, etc.
所以他已经重写过另一套发声。那他一个目标是说，他想要让大家可以自由选择他想要的wiki markup。所以比如说你喜欢这一家的出体，你喜欢那一家的写体，可以把它选一选，决定就组合起来变成自己一套。
So some people want there to be less variations of wiki markup in the world.
有些人不会想要有很多各种不同的 wiki 的语法变化。
So they'll probably hate me because I think everybody should have their own custom wiki format.
这种人就会觉得一定很讨厌你，因为你认为大家每个人都要有自己一套 wiki markup。
And then finally, at the end of this project, I want to get it so that it all just automatically gets pushed back to CPAN once it's and it'll all be
那
stable.
当然，一个终极目标就是当这些事情大致理清了之后，还是要把所有东西全部放回世界去。
And so that would complete the whole circle.
那就是说，这整个功的原理。
Okay, so this is my 4th year talking in Taiwan.
他是今年是他第4年来到台湾。
And every year so far, before I give a talk, I write a new presentation tool.
那直到目前为止，他每次要上台演讲之前，他都会重新写一套影片来。
So is Takahashi here?
Takahashi, what is that?
So the first year I wrote sport, and then the next year I wrote a more customized sport, and then last year I wrote Sport Kahashi, which was totally different in JavaScript.
那前2年他都在写 Sport， 然后去年他写一个叫 Sport Kahashi 的地方的东西，那非常不同，因为全部是用 JavaScript 写。
But now, since I'm getting back into Quickie, I figured that I had to return to my roots.
那因为他现在又重新回头搞 Quickie， 他觉得他要落叶归根。
So I'm using sport, but I've totally rewritten the formatter by hand.
他又回去用 Sport， 只是重新写了一整套不同的 format。
So this is sport.
所以这就是 Sport。
So sport is actually in Quickie 2.0. Actually, this week I realized that everything fun that I was doing should just go in the Quickie directory. So actually, if you install Quickie, you'll have almost all of my code installed in your system.
那现在 Sport 基本上是 Quickie 有点一部分。那他早上其实才刚刚领悟到说，事实上他所写的所有有趣的东西应该直接放进去，所以你只要装了 Quickie 就可以同时有我写的各种奇怪的。
I call it the IDK.
他称之为 IDK。
Ingy Development Kit. Okay, so like if you install Quickie like I showed you before, then you can, and you actually saw me do this. You just can go in this. I checked all of these slides into Quickie itself, so this slideshow is actually part of Quickie. So.
如果你照我刚刚的方法安装了一份 Quickie 图，然后你其实这演讲的演讲稿已经全部在里面，可以依照他刚才做的方法去把它装起，把它开起来看。
So you can just go in there and type sport make, and if you're on a Mac, you can type sport start, and it'll just start up
那
Firefox.
你可以直接进去这个目录打 sport make， 它就把图片做好。如果你在 Mac 上的话，你可以打 sport start， 就是把这个机开起来，然后秀图片。
Okay, so this is the new sport formatter.
这是最新的 sport format，
And this is a piece of Perl code. But so I actually want to show some Perl code. I hope people don't fall asleep. But I'm actually going to show sport in action. So this is something I did last night. The old sport formatter, you used to be able to highlight code with green and red and stuff like that. So I want to do that in a live demo.
他刚才秀的那个是一小段 Perl 程式，他其实要秀更多 Perl 程式，因为他睡着，所以他就只把我换个想法去重新留下。那因为以前的 Sport 的后面你常常要去标说你现在讲的重点就是原始码的颜色是什么，那他现在完成。
So last week in Japan, I gave 5 live demos.
上个礼拜在日本，他给了5场 live demo，
and every one of them resulted in an error.
那每一场都以失败错误结束。
Everyone failed. But I'm gonna try it. I haven't practiced this, but I wanted to highlight a couple of pieces of this code, so let me give it a whirl. Okay, so let's take this, and we're gonna push it over here, and then I added this new thing called color, I think. I don't even remember. No, I think it's called highlight. Okay. But so I think I can put this around here. Now, this thing is pretty cool. So if I want to make this, say I want to make sport formatter 2 blue. So I can just type B's where I want to do that. Now let's take this line and say I want to make this line all red. Well, I could do this, but it's easier to just type in R plus to the end of the line.
它可以一直打 R， 但是它因为另外一个语法就是打 R 加表示一整行都。
Okay, and then let's make this part green. And we'll also make this kind of very clearly shows you how what I was saying before about the two-step process of parsing and omitting. Okay, so now we just got to give it line numbers. So hold on. So this is line number 1. This is line number 3. And this is line number 4. And this would be, okay, so that's for hu, liu, fa. Okay. Fa. Jiu. Okay, so then what you do is you take all this. Okay, maybe this will work. Now, one thing you can do is combine these. So these two lines are the same, right? So you can just say. Okay. So should we try it? Okay. So I type in well, at least it didn't make an error. Cool, huh? Okay, now check this out. This is the really big win with this particular plugin. Because usually when you have a piece of code, you want to show it on several slides and highlight it different ways, right?
通常如果你要秀一段 code 的话，你要分好几个不同阶段把它们组织。
So let's say one thing you can do in Spork is
其中你在 Spork 里面可以做一件事情，就是在前面加下好。
So you can have a slide like this, but then you can go back and you can put a plus. Pretty cool. So, but what you can, I wanted to show you that because you can actually change the colors. So if I put a blank line right after this line, and then I put in, say, let's see, okay, so what if I want to do red plus 7 through? The way I design this is when it sees a blank line, it forgets all the old colors and starts with new colors. So you can see I went from this slide, and then we go reds, right? So it just got rid of all those colors that we made. And then we go E or cha. So what if we were to put a plus in here? So the way these pluses work is it divides the slide into the first part, and then the first part with the next part, and then the next part. Well then, so if we stop here on the first slide, and then on the second slide we have blank line this, then we can have multiple colors for slides. So let's try to.
加号的设计就是说，如果你在一个图片里面变加号的话，那它其实变两张。第一张是加号之前的部分，第二张是从开始到加号之后的部分。所以如果中间有空行的话，这就把它就这边停住，然后你换下一张的时候再把全部做完。
Okay. Yeah. Very cool. So then you can just do. So that's it. So yeah, I mean, Spork is all about when I write slides, doing the least amount of work to get what I want to get done.
基本上 Spork 的目的就是说，它就是要讲，它就像演讲，但是要有些东西都会讲。
It's usually not so flashy, but it works, and you can do things,
虽然不是看起来不是很闪亮，不过起码还不错用。
If you want things bigger, you can just do it by hand.
把页面它可以自己把它放到这个。
Okay. Hickory rickory rock. The mouse began reading the doc. He said, "Oh my God, there's just too much pod. I'd like to give Larry a sock." What? Eat too much pod. Okay, so this week I actually created a new module called Perldoc.
这个礼拜他真的把一个叫做 Perldoc 做完。
Okay. So pod is the way that Perl people write their documentation.
POD 是 Perl 的人在写他们自己文件所用的格式。
And it's a separate specification from Perl. It's just a markup language for writing documentation. So it could be used anywhere, but it's just, it's what we use in Perl, the Perl language.
那基本上它跟 Perl 的规格是完全不相干的，它只是一套标记的语言。那只是 Perl 的人用它来写文件，但是它不一定要用在 Perl， 只用在什么地方？
So now the good things about it is everybody uses it. It's easy to learn. You can use it in a separate document to write documents that don't have anything to do with a program, or you can use it inside of a program and actually mark up a program with documentation.
那好处是说，因为它非常好学，然后又直接可以写在原始码里面，所以你可以虽然你可以拿来写文件，但你可以直接写在原始码页上，就好像对直接是原始码跟文件混在一起的状况，可以看。
But it kind of sucks too. So it makes your program look like crap. It requires you to repeat yourself, so you have to write in the same copyright statement into every program. And the syntax is not really that elegant. So I came up with this idea called Perldoc. So it tries to fix everything that's wrong with pod, but then also keep the things that are good about pod.
它的目标就是说，它要把 POD 里面不好的东西全部干掉，然后把好的东西全部留下来。
So I took some ideas from Quickie. I actually made the markup look a lot more like Wiki markup.
那它从 Quickie 这边有许多灵感。那事实上 ，Perldoc 的其中的许多标记，事实上跟 Wiki 的语法还蛮像。
But the information model is the same, so I can switch easily from what I call quid to pod and pod to quid.
但是它们两个其中所带有的资讯量其实是一模一样的，所以它可以从这边转到那边，从这边转到这边。
This is my funniest slide. It's a Barbie eaten by a. It's actually Ice Age Barbie. Ice Age, you know, like when a body is frozen in a big piece of ice in it. This is a prehistoric Barbie. So I guess there used to be some kind of arithmetic Barbie, math Barbie. And you pull a string on her and she goes, math is hard. So I have a Perl module called Math Barbie. Math is hard. Now, this is what a module might look like in Perl. The red stuff is documentation and the blue stuff is the code. So you can just take a look at it and see how verbose the documentation is. And there's very little code, so why does there have to be so much doc? And then a lot of times what people do is take all of the doc and put it at the bottom. Because the Perl tools really just pull out all the individual sections and put them together anyway. So here's a little refactoring I did. All right, well, here's actually all of the parts of the documentation that are pod directives. So you see this equals head 1, B for bold, I for italic, C for code. And this is a list of things equals, it's really a... Totally insane. So here's stuff converted to quid, and it's a little bit nicer because you just use stars for bold and... But that's not really the big win. That doesn't make things, it's still big and ugly, right? For this tiny little module. So take a look at this, okay? What if you just put all of the information where you wanted to see it? So this is kind of like other things like Java Doc and Oxygen. So what I do is you can actually see this is the title of the module. This is the description. This is a bunch of information, and this is how you would normally do it if you didn't have a documentation system. If you just put comments in your program. This section is like a named block. And here's some documentation for the functions in the program, and here's actually documentation for their parameters. So the way Perldoc works is it actually parses out all of this information. Now, in this case, you can see that the stuff that is in red is actually parts of the program that would be useful for the documentation too.
整个 Perldoc 的概念就是说，它其实是把整份原始码重新解析过一次。那在原始码里面红色字的部分是 Perldoc 会拿来当做文件的资讯。
So I look for these values as well as the pod now, or the comments now.
在处理的时候，基本上是会连红色的部分连带蓝色的注解部分一起看。
I made everything that has to do with Perldoc start with a line that has 2 pound signs instead of 1 because a lot of times people like to comment out code or just want to have comments that they don't want to be part of the doc.
那有时候就是一方面是学 JavaScript 的概念，另外一方面就是说，因为有时候你想要你的注解不要放在文件里面，所以它一开始的注解那一大段一开始就要写2个井号，然后后面就井号，后面就1个井号，那这样子的话就会被视为是文件的部分。
Okay, so let me actually show you this module. It's a slide demo. Now see, I can do osdctw. Yeah. See, now I'll check that the changes that I made to the slide I can check right back into the stuff so you can play with this later.
他把他在会场上做的东西 check in， 所以等一下 check out 出来。
Okay. Done. Okay, so well, I was going to show you Perldoc. So I put here, I'll show you how I actually moved all of my project, all of my important modules are actually here. So okay, so I actually, the documentation for Perldoc is actually written in Perldoc.
那基本上 Perldoc 的这个模组本身的文件是用 Perldoc 概念写起来的。
So the first module to actually be documented with Perldoc was Perldoc.
所以第一个用 Perldoc 的做文件的模组就是 Perldoc。
Now, if you look at this right here, this is the stuff that I wrote, and then all of this here at the bottom gets generated.
那基本上就是上面那一 scroll up，
Okay.
上面那一段注解部分是他写的东西，但是底下这边这些东西全部都自动产生出来。
Let me show a little bit more complicated example.
要看一下一个稍微复杂的。
Okay, so this one has a synopsis and some other stuff. Not that much more complicated, but
这个比如说一些提要之类的，稍微复杂一点。
yeah, so every time I change a line, so if I go up and say, right, then I can say, now the command that I use is, I go out of the file. This is how you make a makefile in Perl.
刚刚那行是建立自动产生 makefile。
And now you can see you have a makefile and you can do all these make things. So for Perldoc, I just added make.doc.
所以它就让 Perldoc 在 makefile 面加一个叫 .doc 的 target， 就是你说 makefile 它就会自动产生所有的东西。
So if we were to go back into okay. So all of this was generated from the program.
这是多重程式。
Now, Perl also lets you put your pod in a separate file, so Perldoc will have an option to actually take all that stuff if you don't want to see it twice and write it out to a file with the same extension but .pov.
就是本来的 Perldoc 它有个另外一个用法，就是说你可以模组的文件可以写在另外一个档案，然后副档改成 EOD 就可以了。那它也想要让 Perldoc 里面有同样的特性，就是你可以产生出来的文件，你可以存到另外一个档案去，不是写在自己的字。
So Perldoc is brand new, and it's probably going to take a while to get really useful, but I think it's a great idea because when you're writing programs, you want them to be clean, you want to use useful comments, but you also want to generate lots of useful documentation from that, so I think it will be good for Perl.
那虽然现在 Perldoc 是全新的，是他们这两年的新设计，然后可能要到实际上真的好用还要一段时间，但是因为我们想要在 code 里面看见真正有用的 comment， 同时也要看见真正有用的文件，那他认为这个方法是非常不错的。
Okay, so Origami 2.0. Everything that I showed there, where you take things and you pull them out, and the one thing I didn't say about Perldoc is what it actually does is takes all of the information, parses it out, makes a huge tree of data, passes it to a templating system that creates a Quid doc. Okay.
Origami 是折纸的意思。
Okay, so.
就是折纸。他之前没有讲一个东西，就是之前的 Perldoc 处理方法是，他把所有的资讯全部萃取出来变成一个树洞结构，然后再把这整个树洞结构喂到一个 template 样板系统。
And then I take the Quid doc and parse that into a tree and back into pod.
然后它这个 template 系统样板系统会产生一份用 Quid 的格式的文件，然后它再去 parse 这个 Quid 格式的文件，然后把它做成 POD。
So it sounds like a crazy process for just doing that, but it allows you to build a flexible tool chain so you can have different starting and ending
虽然
points.
说这个整个过程听起来实在是非常不易，但是基本上它可以有这样的弹性去做更多的转换。
And the one thing I figured out recently is that people get too upset about where is their data. Is your data in XML? Is it in YAML? Is it in some files? Is it in a database? Is it not in a database? Is it in pod? Is it in comments?
那他长期以来就觉得说，人们好像常常在问说，我 data 到底在哪里？我 data 是在资料库里面，或者在 XML 里面，或者在 YAML 里面，或者在各种不同的地方，在注解里面，在文件里，大家都要问这个问题。
And it really doesn't matter. As long as you have the information and you don't lose any of it, it really doesn't matter where your data is at any given point.
那其实这真正的重点在于说，你资讯不能够流失，不管你的资料是存在哪里，是用什么格式存，重点是只要资讯不流失，那它在哪里其实都无所谓。
So Audrey would call this concept, I heard her call it programming origami, because you're just folding information and unfolding it.
那Audrey把这个概念称为做折纸程式设计，那就是基本上就是把程式折起来拆开，折起来拆开。
So this week I also wrote something called Perl folder.
那这个礼拜他写一个东西叫做 Perl folder，就是 Perl 把 Perl 折起来。
And this applies to any programming language really, but especially Perl, because Perl is extremely hard to parse. They say the only thing that can parse Perl is Perl itself.
那这个东西是非常不错的。那因为 Perl 本身其实是很难 parse 的，很难解析的东西。那有一种说法是，能够解析 Perl 的东西是 Perl 本身。
So sometimes when you're using, when you're parsing stuff and looking for useful information, you have to be careful because say you wanted to look through a module and find a line that looked like this.
那有时候你在 source code 里面要找一些东西的时候要很小心。那假设你要找这一行的话
Well, that thing might actually be part of a string.
那它一整个可能会是在一个很大的字串里。
This is Perl's here doc syntax, and this is just a quoting mechanism that makes a string out of all these 3 lines.
那这个写法是 Perl 的机器文件的写法，那它的作用只是在于说，它可以把好几行的东西变成很长的字串。
So you can't just use a simple regex to go look for the line,
所以
right?
基本上你不能只用正规表示式，因为你可能找到错的地方。
But then look at this example. What if you took this line that actually started the quote, and then that's a part of some pod documentation.
但是类似啊，如果你的简版是这样的话，那就是第一行机器文件第一行其实是被包在 POD 里面，它其实不算是原始，它
So in this case, this actually is valid again.
那在这样的情况下，那个 use 其实又是属于原始码
So this
语义的一部分。
it makes it so hard to figure out, is a line Perl or is it something else?
所以其实你可以知道说，光是要这样看这一行是不是属于 Perl 程式，或者算是文件，或者是什么地方的一部分，其实是要花很多功夫。
So what I realized is in Perl, there's 4 different types of things. There's comments, here docs, pod, and data. And they all, depending on how you set them up, can be confused for each other and hide each other.
那它领悟到说，基本上一个 Perl 原始码这4项里面的注解，然后机器文件 DOD 跟 data 这4个东西会让看你怎么安排，会打乱你程式码的意义。
But I came up with this idea that if you could at least just parse those and fold them away, then you could actually look at the code and look for what you wanted to look for.
那所以说，如果能够，假设它能够辨识出所有的注解、所有的机器文件，然后把它折起来，那些还没折起来的部分就是还没处理的部分。
So in Perl, here's some comments. Here's what we call a here document string that goes all the way to this. Here's the thing that we're going to eventually be looking for. Here's some pod. And here's what we call a data section. Everything after the data section is just junk. It's just Perl stops parsing when it sees this token.
就是它把注解、机器文件然后就全部混在一起写，然后底下的 data 这个阶段其实是在 Perl 实际系里面会直接忽略，就是那个是完全不是程式码，可能是要直接忽略。
So this module called Perl folder just takes that and then produces this.
所以 Perl folder 会把刚刚那个程式码变成这个样子。
So what it does is actually takes the comment and takes the SHA-1 hash of it of the content and makes another comment. So it's still valid Perl.
所以 Perl folder 的作用在于说，它把某些特定的部分变成把它拿出来，然后去算它的 SHAE 的那个 checksum， 然后把它再用 comment 形式放回去。所以折就是折起来，折过之后的程式还是一样是 valid Perl。
And since I know the SHA-1 will be unique for each string, then I can actually store the original code in an object and use this as the key to get it back.
那因为 SHA-1 基本上很难重复，所以它可以把这一整个很大的字串当成是 key， 然后对应到把它存在 hash 当做 hash key， 那 hash 值就是这一段 SHA-1 对应到的原始程式。
So this is the same here doc, but I folded away its content. This is a pod thing, and I folded away its content. And then here's the data section. I fold its content. And then this thing we know must be valid because it didn't get folded away.
那你可以看到这边机器文件的内容被折起来，然后 DOD 文件内容被折起来 ，data 的 data 区的内容也被折起来了，所以中间那个还没被折起来的一定是我们要找的。
So let's review. So far, I've showed you Ingy 2.0, Quickie 2.0, Spork 2.0, Perldoc 2.0, Origami 2.0. Did I forget anything? I think that's so. I have one more 2.0. I want to show you.
复习一下，目前为止我们看过了Kwiki 2.0到现在已经记不起来。
USB 2.0. It actually will give you 480 megabytes per second, and it's faster than FireWire.
400万，比FireWire还快。
It's my latest creation. So if you used USB 2.0, you can thank me. Okay, so this is the end draws nigh. Ingy loves you. Love him back. Have you a question?
Show your passport page again. I want to see your passport page.
Oh yeah, where's my passport? You want to see? The question was what?
Show that slide with your passport in it.
Okay. Yeah. Kind of hard to see. That's what happens when you take pictures with the photo booth. So, are there any other questions 2.0? Anybody? Okay. Thank you very much.